Hello, crafty friend. It's Justine Dvorak from Stationery by Justine, where when I craft, my world stands still. Today, I'm going to make a process video for Roulette episode 269. I am loving this parameters. You will see at the end, I almost forgot one, so stick around to the very end of the video and you'll see how I tried to pull it together at the end to make it work, people. But on this last episode, it was Mary Gunn Fun, of course, the host. And then there was Kelly and Amanda. So it was great to get to know them. And I'm excited to meet both of them at Paperganza this July. Very exciting. So what I'm going to do here today is tell you what the parameters were and walk you through what I'm going through. But before I do that, look at all of these under the sea watery creature sets from Pajama Crafter Stamps. I'll link all of them down below. So if you want to check them out, you can. And the Pajama Crafter Stamps is one of the spin sponsors for Roulette in June. And they have some really amazing stamps over there. So you're going to want to check them out. And if you use my affiliate link, you get extra crafty bonus points from me. Crafty hugs. So go ahead and do that if you are wanting to. So let's talk about the parameters. This week project was square card. So I'm doing a 4.5 by 4 card. Hold on. Let me see. It might be a 4 by 4. Let's see how hard I cut it. Yes, I cut it down to a 4 by 4. Just kidding. Okay. And I used watercolor paper to do that. And I am loving the LDRS Creative watercolor paper. Why, you may ask? Do I like that one? Well, it is really, really bright white. I love a bright white watercolor paper. I think it is just so perfect for watercoloring. I don't love the cream ones, but I tolerate the cream. But I really like a bright white for watercoloring. It keeps my colors looking very vibrant where I color over them. So that's what I love to do. Now we're going to jump into this part of the video with a crazy heat embossing situation. I've never done this on my YouTube channel before, so buckle up. I have used clear ink on my whales, and I'm going to put Versamark over this because I changed my mind as I was doing this. I want the whales to have the black lines for a stamp, but I wanted my sentiment to be white. So I'm going to carefully heat emboss each section with the correct powder I want. So I want my sentiment to be white. So I'm just adding the powder over the sentiment and tapping it off. Using my little IKEA spoon for that. Then I grabbed my clear embossing powder, which looks white before it gets heat embossed. And I'm going to put the clear over the whales because that will give a shiny black look to my whales. So that is a little bit weird. I haven't done that before, but I wanted my white sentiment to be blending in with the water in a cool way. And I really wanted my whales to be bold with the black outlines. So that's the vision. We'll clean up my little powder mess and I'll grab my heat gun and heat set that. Off camera. So now I'm going to watercolor. My heat setting had warped my paper just a tiny bit. And I'm going to have my watercolors pop out here in just a second. So I'm going to use my stamp wheel to use my grippy mat on my stamp wheel to hold my project in place as I color. So I'm going to do a wet on wet technique with my whales. So I'm first getting the whales wet with some water. They are just simply wet with clear, clean water. I'm looking at some blue whales. This is kind of the vision that I'm going for. So blue whales have this kind of dark navy, kind of a gray tone to them. So I'm dropping the color onto the project, which is already wet. And honestly, that looks good as it is. I did not need to add any more. I think that these images kind of speak for themselves, but I am a too much person and I like to go a little crazy. And now I do know a few facts about whales, so I'm going to share them with you as we go along. But first of all, these whales have lighter tummies and darker tops or backs, if you will, because when you look up underwater, you're going to see the sun shining through. And so a lighter belly makes sense, even though these whales are blue whales. They're not predators or anything, but a dark top kind of camouflages them in the water. When you look down, the sun is behind you and you're looking into the water, and having a dark back kind of protects them a little bit. So, little fun fact about whales as we go here. But these whales are going to be in a happy little blue, moody style water. So I'm going in with a kind of dry on wet technique for the background of the water. I wanted it to look different than the whales, so they still stood out because they are blue whales and the water is blue. But I also wanted to include the whole cloudy thing, which is the element. Element is clouds, cloudy. So my water is going to be cloudy. Have my stretchy pants on today for that one. And then colors were butterflies. And then tide is the random one, which I almost forgot to the end. But let's talk about butterflies. So butterflies can come in any different kind of color, which I think is kind of a fun way to incorporate color into this week's parameters. But there is a blue, black, and white butterfly. Actually, there's a few different kinds, but I am kind of modeling that after my project here today. So the blue, black, and white butterflies, you can kind of see I have those colors on my card here today. I don't think we have those native in Minnesota, but you know, I've been wrong many times in my life, so who knows, maybe we do. Maybe at a butterfly sanctuary or something. All right, with my water, I want to really darken the bottom of my project up so it looks kind of like deep and moody and cloudy on the bottom and then light on the top. You might be wondering, what are you doing? Well, I love a sparkle paper, or highfalutin, as some of the craft roulette people say. And I did not want to waste one single piece of my sparkle paper. So I cut out my middle of my background here. Fun fact, I was making this card as I was watching Craft Roulette and trying to prepare for when I'm actually a guest on Craft Roulette. And so I saw Mary using glitter cardstock, and so did Amanda. And Kelly actually used kind of like a mirror cardstock look too. So I was kind of doing a little nod to their project and used some glitter paper. And that glitter paper was from Spellbinders. It's just so cute. I'm obsessed with, I love sparkle. If you don't know, I love sparkle. So if I had an excuse to use glitter paper, you know I'm going to do that. So I just love their cards as well. So if you haven't checked out the episode, definitely check it out below. If you have zero idea what I'm even talking about and you don't know what Craft Roulette is, it is a card making game show that is once a week, and it is so, so fun. Once you watch, you're not going to want to stop watching. And I may or may not have gone back and watched a ton of old videos from them and gotten to know a lot of really fun crafters that way. I think that's kind of one thing that people don't talk about Craft Roulette, like that makes it really special, is that they have this way of introducing these crafters that you may see very polished on their YouTube channels or on their blogs. And it's just a very relaxed and fun environment. So I love that part about Craft Roulette. Plus, everyone is just so, so nice. It's unbelievable. All right, my card needs a card base. So I'm going to pull out some real thick paper. I think this is 130 or 120 pound cardstock. I like it nice and thick for my card bases. And I'm making this to be 4.5. So I needed my paper 9 inches, and then I just scored it at 4.5. because 4.5 plus 4.5 equals 9. So making my score line halfway in between. Then I'll just take my little bone folder and fold up my edge. And I think I ended up making this a top folding card. So my little whales will be on the bottom. Cutesy cutesy. All right, now go ahead and add that on. I'm still loving my glue press from Pear Blossom Press. I do think it's worth the hype. If you're crafting on a budget, it's not something that you absolutely need. I do really like it though, and I'm not just saying that. I don't know anyone particular at My Sweet Petunia. I do have an affiliate link if you want to buy the glue press, but I'm not like invested in their stock or anything. So I'm not just telling you to get the glue press, but I do like it. We'll just put it that way. Same with the glitter paper. I'm not telling you have to get it, but sparkle always makes me happy. So there's that. All right, I'm going to add this on to my project. I had to let this dry. So this part I did film quite a bit later in my evening, but anytime you use watercolor paper, you kind of have to keep that in mind. This liquid glue though does really help with warping. Anytime I add it onto my projects, I will flip it over like this and just kind of wait. This video is sped up just a hair, so the wait time is a little bit shorter, so we're not just watching the back of my hands for 5 minutes. But letting that dry really helps it stay in place. And I think that is just simply cute. Oh no, guess what? I almost forgot my last part of my parameters here, which is the random part, and that is tide. So I thought, what can I do? My cloudy moody card is kind of like everything will be okay. I thought that would be kind of a good get well card or get whale card. So I'm going to add some glossy accents as a simple embellishment. And then at this point I thought, wait a minute, you forgot the random spot. You can't do that. So I wanted to go back and figure out how can I make this whale maybe have a bow, maybe have a little string tied around his tail. And then I thought, ooh, that kind of nods at like ocean pollution, and that's not very happy and lovely. So maybe not that. And so I thought, wait a minute, I have these little bandages that are watching me be fussy here. I have these bandages that are embellishments from Trinity Stamps. So I'm going to use those on my whale. Can you guess what they are? I'll give you a few seconds to make a guess as I fuss around with my sky here. I had this one blue blob kind of in the middle there in the sky. Can you see it? Maybe it's just the cloud. We'll go with that. All right. Do you have any guesses? Last couple seconds for your guess. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just kidding. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now. It's the bandages. The tiny bandages, because his little fin is bandaged up or tied up because he has his little fin and he's got a little band-aid on his fin. Oh, so cute, isn't he? This is why I love all the fun embellishments in my craft room, because I can always pull out something little and make it work for Craft Roulette. All right, let me know what you think about this card. And let me know if you've ever tried watercoloring your stamped images. It's not something that I see a whole bunch of people doing, but I love doing it. So be sure to check out Pajama Crafter Stamps if you have not yet. And I really appreciate you watching. So we'll see you next week with another Craft Roulette process video, or you can subscribe to my channel and you can see lots of other cards that I have on my channel for you. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye, crafty friend.